Welcome back to another episode of the Philosophy of Chillin. I'm your host, Dylan to Connect. And there are so many topics that I would love to talk about, but whenever I come onto this platform, I really try not to talk about things that I want to. I really try to make sure that I'm opening up myself as a vessel, so that I'm talking about the things that need to be discussed. Um, so, with that being said, I had so many other ideas of where I wanted to go with this episode today. And I really don't, I really didn't know how to talk about those things without seeming as if I was rambling, because there are so many thoughts in my head that I try to convey within the topics of the day. But I don't know, maybe sometimes it can go over some people's heads. And that's understandable because it took a minute for me to understand the difference of how I just articulate myself in general to other people. So I'm still learning how to communicate and put how I really perceive the world around me in ways that can be received. And that leads me to the theme of what we're going to discuss today. That theme being the surface level. Um, this is really just a phrase that has been understood maybe for more generations than what I'm experiencing currently. Um, do I know the origin? Not really. But we are talking about that surface level that everyone can recognize, talk about, but it's really not discussed thoroughly. And even in trying to figure out how I would talk about this, which ways I would go in trying to provide an explanation, I just wanted to get one thing said and done. Um, for one, people, we love the surface level. We love the surface level. Not necessarily just people, but humans, we love the surface level. Because the surface level, it can be light, it can be funny, it can make everyone feel welcomed. It can really like house a lot of unspoken understanding about people's predicaments or even insecurities. And really, at the end of the day, it can be safe because you're portraying what keeps the party going, or it keeps the mood in which you're sharing with other people at a level that's acceptable. But the reason I'm talking about this today is because it's something about my soul that it just doesn't operate on that level. And I can't put it on a gender, a title, a label, a category, a niche, a specificity, because it can be found in literally everything. And if you don't say anything, then I mean, it'll just live where it is. But for me, my body naturally goes below it. Like it just, I just, my entity cannot. Like it just doesn't stay there. Like it'll be cool. I can recognize it. I can laugh. I can understand when people, don't want to talk about something, or there's a sensitive topic in the air, and you might not need to go there. And I get it, I understand it. I just like if you were asking me, if someone were asking me, how do you continue waking up in the morning? How can you continue showing up, adding into your creativity while also trying to grow and develop professionally? I can never do it on a surface level. Like I can give you the answer that you're looking for in the time frame that you may need, but it's not going to tell you everything, because everything that I experience is underneath it. I've seen people try to operate on a surface level, and outside of the temporary like dopamine feeling, it's not really helping anything. Um, and I'm a problem solver, and I care about people, even though like I try not to. Just speaking transparently, just go throw it out there. This is my truth. I'm just telling you. But essentially, like you learn, if you put your attention towards trying to be a caring being, then it's gonna be highlights that pop out to you that you have no choice but to face, you know, through you. Because you can't sit here and try to take care of somebody else but not go through, or at least understand, experience, or have empathy for what they are going through too. You know what I mean? So I say that to say I can't relate to somebody else. I can't show up for somebody else within their life and in their life in the way that their life calls me to be. Does this make sense as I'm saying it? Like, you can't show up in somebody's life the same way in everyone's life because everybody's different. So for me, the reason I progress is because I see past a surface level of people. So yeah, we can make like light jokes, a kiki, but like I see you too. So I know that's not true. At least that's not the entire truth. And in some instances, people tell me, in some instances, people don't. But because my soul just naturally operates off of recognizing the surface level, but basing my actions, reactions, and attention towards and intention towards the depth of not just myself but other people around me, that's where the difference begins to ensue. So, trying to control all the thoughts that I had about talking in this topic, one of the things that kept standing out to me was the fact that the surface, in regards to the surface level, it's easy to stay. It's easy to stay on the surface level. Like, I mean, we live on the earth. I mean, we literally live on the surface. Ooh, that's cool. I don't know what that was, but that was good. That was good. I don't know what that was, but yeah, we do. Like, we live on the surface. the Earth's surface. Um, but it's easy, so it's easy to stay at that level. Like it is what comes natural. It's our genuine emotions reacting at their rawest level. Because even just speaking from my experience, what I've had to grow through is the fact that I don't have to think about my actions when that is my foundation of reaction. I can just keep moving, like unconsequentially, and essentially, even that instance is not the full story. Because to live on the surface level, you also have to have recognition that there's something deeper than that. And when you transition from a level of ignorance or a level of that first natural reaction, you then start to understand that there are elements surrounding that influence how you can really take in and perceive what's happening. And that's challenging because going past the surface level can open up a window of literally any and everything. It opens the door to vulnerability, transparency, communication, like control. It touches literally almost, not even almost, it literally touches everything. Because yeah, you can make a joke here, and yeah, you can be lighthearted, you can be innocent, but what happens if someone takes that as a law? Like literally, at the same surface level that you take it. What if that is their everything? And they base their environment, their actions, their words, all of that around it. What do you think is going to happen? Maybe what we're living through currently. I'm just saying. But that's why I do the philosophy of chilling, because now it's starting to transform into something that helps me articulate what I'm seeing and how it's being perceived, not just by me, but other people that are coming from beyond the surface level. And as things continue to evolve, and there's always going to be strenuous difficulty. Like, it's called the surface level for a reason. And that's why it's so easy, because it's not much difficulty. Like, if you choose not to look at something some way, or choose not to fully accept or recognize other aspects of the thing that's causing you to have a reaction, then how you approach yourself changes with it. And just from observation, a lot of people are scared of it. the pain. There is so many examples. To lift up, to hop off the ground, to dig, it all causes tension. And you can apply it in any aspect. But what I'm saying is, as far as the surface level is concerned, the reason why I'm talking about this today is because it's difficult to go past it. And it's important in my eyes to do so because I see the effects of it. And it's concerning because a lot of the things that live on the surface level aren't the truth. And some people take it as such, to such an extreme, to where it's literally threatening the lives around it, experiencing it. And it can go so many different ways to where, I mean, staying there, I mean, it can be cool. It can be smooth. You know what I'm saying? You winning. You have that feeling like it ain't really nothing you can't do. And that's smooth. But what happens when you're forcibly pushed underneath it to recognize it? Past the surface level, I mean. What happens when, because you didn't do the work on your own to at least recognize the importance of you going through it, what if you're damaged so much that you completely beat yourself up without knowing how much stronger you could have been, without knowing how much you could have grown or experienced just by even doing the work of recognizing, hey, here is this level that I'm at. There's this space underneath that I can find resources and growth in and expansion. Just a little bit more space around me. It's going to take some difficulty to get to it. And the stages that I have to go through to find what I'm looking for, even though I don't know what I'm looking for, materialistically, but I do know I'm looking for mental, spiritual clarity, and I'm willing to take on what it puts me through physically. Like that's how I think about it. Because the overarching topic is not necessarily saying that making memories and just thinking at a surface level is not okay. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to understand why people are so afraid of it, I guess, in a way, because because of the pain. Like, I get it. You don't want to go through things that make things too difficult when we already feel as if there's enough on us that we have to prepare for or do to survive within, the world. But I I just can't help but recognize that sometimes it makes being at a surface level creates its own limits. And I don't like it. Like, it creates a standard to be aware of. But when you look past just the awareness, there's so many phenomenal things in understanding, in complexity. And if we are intellectual beings, not the only ones, but the main ones with our unique abilities, as humans, as a spirit, as a vessel, I don't like to feel constricted. I want to feel boundless, limitless. And staying at a surface level prevents it. And even with trying to dissect it, the whole principle of this is trying to work through the feelings that I have when I'm in a situation of the surface level being the standard in the environment. I can accommodate to it, but I can't lie. I do get frustrated from it because there are so many different instances where if you wanted to learn more about it, there's definitely an opportunity to. But if you're falling on deaf ears, there's nobody listening to it. And that's important because I can see that being a reason why so many might shy away from or have fear towards experiencing the ups and downs of emotions that come with trying to explore different discussions going past that standard level or that surface level. Like it creates itself naturally from unspoken communication and just learned habits and experiences, which is expected. But it's so interesting seeing when someone breaks it because there's a level of uncomfortability that provides another layer of understanding that you didn't have previously. And you want to stay 10 toes on what you feel and believe so much to where it's like when that door does open up forcibly or just by a person asking appropriately, it lets someone know that they didn't have the full story. So, yeah, it wasn't to say that what you perceived on your end wasn't valid, it just wasn't everything. There were other components that needed to be added to it. So, you can still comment and respond and make jokes from it, but at least do it in a way that incorporates the full story and not just either trying to intentionally delete it, move away from it, or not talk about it, to being able to look at it, receive it, generate energy from it, and then control it. Like, seriously, what would that do for you? So, again, I don't want to seem as if I'm rambling. The whole point is trying to pull out one, what I am experiencing as far as the topic of conversation. Explain that. Create a way in which it can be received, and then apply the philosophy that I essentially utilize to get through the frustrations, because so many people tell me, yo, don't just be chilling, or, they just, say what they say and then they go. But it's so much deeper than that. And I always think about that. Like, the goal is to be at the standard that somebody else can recognize, because that interaction is unique to them and it helps them in their aspect of living. But at the same time, again, you can't copy and paste everything, especially not in-person interaction. So you constantly have to adapt and adjust, and that surface level is a huge piece of it. So how do you still want to have the intention to show up authentically, make your money, you know what I'm saying, do what you love to do, and still be able to operate at a standard that's able to be received by everybody? That's a difficulty, because humans have so many different complexities, which is why I say, in addressing the different aspects of what being on the surface level has been understood to me, now is more so of a question of, okay, I feel these things, but that doesn't take away from that feeling you get in a space where you're looking around and you're just like, okay, well, if I do this, am I willing to take on the consequences from people that someone may not even know? Might be a stranger to them for sure. Like, it creates a level of awkwardness even if you are operating authentically. And that's important, because that's what sets the tone for the level at which at least for me, it always determines the level at which another person is directly connected to me personally. And then what I mean by that is, when I am having feelings of frustration, or just having a recognition of details based off of based off a standard or something else, and I either experience a reaction that is on the surface level, or I experience the interaction of somebody communicating to me on it. And when you experience somebody else, how do I say, Um, I'll just say communicating a surface level reaction or comment, question, what have you. Um, the emotions that are felt honestly like warrant the same and equal response, no? Because that's just what's the first go to. Like, you may not even know me, or you may know me, but you fixate on this one situation without even knowing the full story. And that direct connection, every single time, it puts a timer on our relationship. And eventually, even if my intentionality is to show up in the ways that I'm called to, it places uh it's like a contingency of how close that person can be. And I know that for me, every emotion that I've ever had to go through in terms of having to feel like I needed to respond to something or choosing not to, but recognizing, where it's coming from versus not necessarily just my side of the story, but the attributes of what that full story um, was developed from, it always places a timer. Because either my reaction is impromptu and I'm just hyped off of energy, and now it's either made the situation worse or it's made my situation better, but put someone else's situation um, in an awkward or worse position. Or adversely, the other person didn't know the full story of what was going on, so now you've made a comment that has triggered something, knowing that if I didn't show up authentically in the space I was in previously, it don't matter, for example, how late I would be. Because if I had a friend that was walking on the side of the street and I had someplace to be, but I had a calling to show up for them to make sure that they got to where they needed to be safely, well, the important piece is that I arrive and I do the due diligence that was needed to. And that means everything. Because that's what I'm contributing to. It doesn't have to be at a specific moment in time. No one ever knows when you're trying to do work that it is aligned with the recognition of divinity that somebody has within them internally. And for me, every single day, there's no set schedule on the timing. So it's like, okay, if I am trying to get through the emotions that I feel on a surface level, well, for one, I have to give myself grace for recognizing the fact that you're not, what is the word or the term, dilly-dallying? um, you're not being lackadaisical if you're actually moving with the intentionality. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all folks that just be out here and y'all know what y'all doing, I can't advocate for you. I can't advocate for you because you know what you're doing and you know what is going, you already know the consequences before they even happen. You just want to see if it's really going to happen on a surface level in reality. Like, And that's a dangerous game to play for me, because if I already recognize a certain level of truth within the souls and individuals that I meet too, well, me just responding off of first reaction is, you know, that it puts a strain, it can put a strain on everything. And what I mean by everything is just the purpose that I was given and what I recognize that to be. Hmm. So, I mean, if you want straightforward skills that I utilize, it's the same thing repeated. You've probably heard it a million times. You've probably seen content on it. Breathing techniques, you know, that really helps me. It's not just about meditation. You'll get there when you can, but being focused on your breathing, that definitely matters to me, because the breath that one takes really showcases the level of intensity in their movements. And that's something to pay attention to. So if you don't have a control over it for you, is no telling. So again, if y'all want physical like skills, attributes, you know, ways in which you can apply, there are so many other people that have specialties in it, and I really want to bring them onto the show. But honestly, my whole preface and purpose for today is to go through the steps of thinking and processing and digesting, because for me, being recognizing and operating off of a surface level is strenuous for me, because of the level of intentionality that I have, or at least try to constantly build, develop, and evolve. It makes it somewhat impossible for me. And if we're talking about the philosophy of chillin, which is essentially just contributing diverse ideologies and experiences, but also trying to highlight thought processes that can be utilized to diffuse or elevate a level of misunderstanding. Um, the surface level can really be the home of everything, from experiences to um, frustrations. Um, so, what this means is, and hopefully what someone can gain from this, is the fact that making jokes, like, even for some people, making money, relationships, like business partnerships, it's okay. Um, But one day it'll become undeniable that you don't want to be at that surface level. And it's not a man or woman, homosexual, heterosexual reality. It's an entity. It's you and me. It's a choice of where you choose to be. But as a human being, you're more than just your physical body's entity. Like, that's why your spirit is always looking for its own sense of freedom and boundlessness. So, if you're recognizing it, pay attention to it. Like, yes, of course you're going to deny it sometimes. Like, we live on earth. Come on. We've seen the choices that we are all going to make. Like, it's, I mean, you can look. But regardless, the topic of being on the surface level is a topic that is difficult to go through when it's just you. And I recognize that to be true. But I applaud you because that type of work is what opens the door to who you truly are being called to be. And honestly, that is how my mind literally wraps itself around how I respond when I feel those levels of frustration. And even in person, I can vent. Oh boy, let me tell you something. But even after venting, even in venting, I don't even like to vent. Because I know that's just my surface level emotion. So I really don't even want to talk about it because that gives too much life to it. And I just try to base my attention on everything else I just mentioned. So that's all I'm going to say today. As y'all know, with every episode that I do by myself, the intention is to do a part 2 with somebody else. So, whenever I come across the right person and I feel like it's that space and opportunity to, just know it's coming. But until then, I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all again. And y'all can leave whatever y'all need to in the comments. But this has been Don't Let the Connect. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.